Hey guys, welcome back to Lawrence McKenna on LFC channel, where we're in Paris, guys. We're in Paris. Made it to Paris. Probably my favorite city in Europe. Above London. This is great. Like, loads of people hate it, but I love it. I have a lot of respect for the PSG fans. I've certainly got a lot of respect for the PSG ultras. If you know anything that they did around the Dusan Vlahovic stuff, then I certainly respect that. And I also just love Paris. Paris is a great city, great culture. Liverpool and Paris have a lot in common in that, we're both great cultural capitals. One of us, we both have good football teams that dominate leagues sometimes. But that means it's time to talk about this clash of titans. The two teams in the Champions League who have a little bit of, je ne sais quoi, should we say, this season. Obviously, PSG have only cultivated that recently, whereas Liverpool have had a slightly longer tail to it. But PSG are sort of coming into their own right now. They're looking pretty good. I think they've won their last 5. They've scored 21 goals. They've only conceded 3 in that time. Of course, those guys must be feeling confident. Of course, I'd be feeling good. I'd be feeling confident if I had that in the middle of my city. Yeah? It's no Radio City, put it that way, guys. Although I can't see the Eiffel Tower from here because you can't, but that's maybe the equivalent of the Radio City, put it that way. They're looking good. They're looking good attacking-wise. But the thing is, right, whenever these guys come up against, or have come up against, real quality in the Champions League, I think they have flattered to deceive a little bit. And it's very rarely that I've actually seen PSG, when tested, perform to their max. And that's where the whole preview here kind of hinges. Which kind of Liverpool's going to turn up? Not that we've not been sure which kind of Liverpool would turn up this season, but if PSG really turn up and try and give us like blood and thunder, hell on earth, this is a tricky away tie. We know we've got to go back to Anfield. We know we've got 2 legs here. We know we've got to win this. What do you do then? Like, obviously you lock down. Obviously you counter. You do all the things that we know are going to play to Liverpool's strengths, because I think if we play to our strengths, as with most games, but as particularly against PSG, and we play to our maximum, then we're as good a team, I think, probably overall a better unit than PSG are. But I think PSG have just got those special ballistic missiles. They've just got a front 3 which is devastating. Do you want to put Kvaratskhelia on one side? Do you want to put Ousmane Dembele through the middle? Do you want to switch things up in the middle of the game? Which of the youth do you want to play? Is it Barcola? The midfield is certainly there to be out technicaling Liverpool, and I certainly appreciate that. And I think to the same extent, they've got a lot of defensive talent that is still growing into its own. Liverpool can look to exploit that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a foregone conclusion that we'll get a result in this game. And I get that. Obviously you enter every Champions League game with that mentality, but PSG are particularly lethal. PSG have been shown to be unforgiving if you show any level of weakness. And the Brest game, as much as obviously we can write a lot of that off because on aggregate there was, that huge gap and the huge score, I think what it certainly showed was the killer instinct that PSG have, the fact that they just will not let up on so many different teams in the Champions League, and that they're looking to prove something this season. And Liverpool are a team where if you can get their head, then you've kind of proven something this season, to be honest. You've proven that, well, I don't know what they will have proven because I don't know what PSG are trying to prove, but I think they will have proven something. I think they certainly will have proven that young attacking verve can sometimes outdo, the older heads of Liverpool. But at the same time, let's not beat around the bush here, guys. This Liverpool side are a team who also have got stuff to prove. They want to prove that they can hang with the European elites, even now that Klopp has gone. I think a lot of people's assumption was that Liverpool were hanging with the European elites because Klopp was there, and because Klopp was getting the best out of the players, and because this counter-attacking heavy metal football was levelling the playing field, and somehow that Liverpool wouldn't be able to keep up after they'd gone. But I certainly think we've proven that's not the case. Not that, by the way, we've actually faced all that many impressive sides in the Champions League this season. I think we've played a lot of badges, but not many people who actually have given us a game. Leverkusen didn't give us a game. Man City in the league didn't give us a game. Arsenal gave us a game in the league. Real Madrid certainly didn't give us a game there. There were plenty of sides that we faced this season in the Champions League where I thought, you know what, even AC Milan, I saw them, I went to that game. They weren't all that good, guys. They were really taken off guard by the fact that we were really intense in our pressing and pressed really effectively. But I don't ever think that they particularly got comfortable in the game. I think we never let them get comfortable. And that's the real crux of what I'm I'm talking about in this preview. We cannot let PSG settle in this game. We can't let them feel like, hey, we're at home, we've got a crowd to play to, we can make a nice big gap between us and them, which we can then take back to Anfield. I think we've got to lock down. We've got to be more than willing to be counter-attacking in this side side of the draw. And from my perspective, we have to play the 180 minutes rather than the 90. I know that the temptation is to go to Paris, make a statement. But even in previous years, even when, they had the huge attacking talent that we sat down, that we little boyed, that we proved you can't outspend and just, waltz past us. I think to an extent that we've been part of proving to them that they needed to change their model, that they needed to do something different to what it was they were doing before. And I'd imagine they want to go full circle now. That doesn't mean, by the way, therefore, that this Liverpool team are, weirdly, we are the underdogs in terms of the odds and what everyone's predicting for this game, by the way. There are a lot of people who are saying Liverpool like 35% likely to win. It's very likely to be a draw. And then PSG are like 40% likely to win. I think that probably slightly underestimates Liverpool to an extent. I think it slightly overestimates the fact that PSG are probably playing week to week, slightly a weaker opposition, should we say, which I also think will play into their hands, because the intensity of the Premier League, the intensity of what it is that Liverpool are asked to do week in, week out is certainly very different to what it is that PSG are asked to do week in, week out. But just because PSG have got a constant pre-season going on doesn't make them weak. It just means that they're constantly prepared, constantly fit enough, constantly confident, constantly trying new things, always have the ability, the range and the space to be able to do that in their own league, because let's face it again, guys, no one really challenges them outside of that. Like, it really isn't that challenging in this league at all at the moment. And that's not an indictment on the technicality of the league or the excitement or any of the other culture of the league. It's just more that I think PSG are, a lot of the sides they play aren't the same standard as the Premier League, should we put it that way? Because that could sound a little condescending, and I didn't mean it in that way. I just mean it in comparison to the Premier League. Of course, that also means that Liverpool are stepping into a bit of a cauldron. This place is incredibly difficult to go to. It's incredibly confident. It will want blood from the early stages, and the young players will also be eager to get that. But they're also facing a couple of more seasoned heads within that team. That midfield is it's not like they're fresh, but they're not fresh out the womb. These guys they're really good at taking the opposition apart, basically. And then you've got people like Dembele, people who still have to prove it on the European stage, people who still have to show, I actually deserve to be here. I am on the level of a Neymar or a Messi or whatever you want to call it, because he's been desperate to prove that for quite some time now. I think the problem in evaluating Liverpool this season has really been, first of all, what is our yardstick? What is the best game that we played? I'd love to know in the comments below what you think our best game we played is. There are a load of good games, but what's the best opposition we've played? What's the way that we measure how good this team truly are? Because a lot of people are talking about the Premier League being weak. I don't agree with that. A lot of people are talking about us having an easy Champions League run. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think we've made other sides look weak. If we're going to do this, we have to make these other sides also look incredibly average. We have to negate all of their positives. And I think that's the real problem for us, is the positives that PSG have are the positives that we feel the least positive in negating. The ones where it is about, the pace against the fullbacks, the countering, the movement in the penalty area, which can sometimes catch us off guard, even in the Premier League. I'm just swapping hands because my arm aches. And that's kind of a challenge for us. I think that's something that we're going to face and have to reckon with if we are going to win the Champions League or win the Premier League this season. Fair enough. By the way, what a great location to film a video, right? Like, I'm still sort of getting over it. What a great Sunday. Yeah. I'm off to go and buy some Converse because I came to Paris in very comfortable trainers, but then I was told, these don't look very restaurant-y. These don't look very, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, starting lineups, because I've probably rambled on way too much. And you probably are annoyed at this point anyway. You probably left the video. Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate. Yeah, Trent is definitely going to play because obviously we've got Conor Bradley injured. Robbo starts for me, and I think you bring on Costas Tsimikas, possibly even at half-time, to put in a shift. Robbo was amazing at shutting down the opposition, but he had a little bit more pace when we came to PSG last time. That's 6 years, 6 years ago was when we really did like the very special thing that year. And that's kind of my point, is like, Robbo's fantastic. His experience, his technicality, his reading of the game is really, really good. But also, you've seen the Saka goal. You've seen a number of goals this season which have really undermined his confidence. This could be one of those games where we see he's not even an old dog, guys, but in this story, he's the old dog, pulling out lots of pulling out lots of experience basically, and really showing the young guys like, you know, I'm still just as good as I was. I think we've seen that in flashes this season for Robbo, but it's never been truly consistent. Trent will play, but I don't know if he'll make it through a full 90 against any of those guys, to be honest. So I'd expect to see either Jarell Quansah or someone else playing that position later on in the game, possibly even Endo. Possibly even Endo comes on, we pack the midfield. Speaking of midfield, we'll play Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai ahead of that, to the best of my ability of thinking of tactics, because that's our strongest midfield. And up front there was a real debate about this. There was like a real sort of like, ooh, you know, what is it that we're going to do? Obviously we're going to go Mo Salah on the right. Obviously we're going to go Cody Gakpo actually didn't train with the team, so I think we're going to go Diaz on the left, and I think we're going to go Jota through the middle, because otherwise we would have played Diaz there. And I don't think Núñez will start. I just can't see Darwin Núñez starting a game like this. There's a possibility that because Gakpo is injured, we may start someone like a Curtis Jones to do that 2-front-2, the 4-2-2-2-2. But I think we will start with Jota, because I think we need a bit of guile in there, a little bit of counter-attacking, pick up the ball, shock them excellence in the Champions League. And I just think Jota is that player for us. I love Jota. I think Curtis Jones comes on later though, put it that way. I don't think we'll see a Chiesa or anyone like that in a game like this. It's not the time to reintroduce him out of the frying pan into the fire, and it doesn't feel fair almost to test him like that. This has got to be our strongest side, especially considering the run of games that we got in the next couple of games. And if anything, I'd expect us to rotate on the weekend and then come back and, you know, not do that in the Champions League to try and finish them off. It's obviously dangerous, but at this point in the season, it's something that's necessary, and it's not out of arrogance, it's out of necessity. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. I'd be really interested to know, because at this point in the season, there has to be rotation, but we don't get many games to do that, and we're not in the FA Cup anymore. We've only got one League Cup game to go. From here on out, this is where the marathon is like, guys, it's time for that third win that you've been looking for. It's time to get that. Let me know if you guys agree in the comments below. I'm here with Google Pixel. Thank you so much to Google Pixel for doing all of this, you know, putting this on. I flew from Liverpool this morning with a group of other people. I'm here with some really great presenters and influencers, and I just overall appreciate being here. It's I love Paris. Let me know if you're in Paris, if you want to come see me, if you want to meet up, or if I can come see you. I'm not eating today, I'm fasting, but I will not be fasting tomorrow for Ramadan because I'm traveling and there is a lot to do in that day, frankly. It's not out of a lack of dedication. I always love my wife and children, but in this particular instance, guys, I'm in Paris. I've got videos to shoot, and I've got a lot to do. And as much as some people might think that's unforgivable, I am very good at observing Ramadan when it comes down to fasting, at least. And yeah, I hope you can understand that. Not that I owe you a justification, but it felt like I did. I don't know why. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm going to do a whole other Arnie Slot video because I think Arnie's friggy, you know? He's fringing. Anyway, he's fascinating. Put it that way. I'll talk Arnie on another video. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'll chat to you in a while. Much love. Bye.